Welcome to AutoSpeed, your home of motoring action. McLaren recruit Kevin Magnussen talks about life in Formula One. News of Michael Schumacher's long road to recovery. Mercedes' new C-Class sedan is revealed. And we complete our European Le Mans Series review, all in AutoSpeed. Kevin Magnussen arrives at the McLaren Technical Centre to talk about his whirlwind elevation to a race seat just before the new year. The impressive Dane follows his father Jan into Formula One.
When I heard the news that I got the seat, it was obviously a big surprise for me because up until that point I didn't really know where I was in terms of getting the seat. So it was a big surprise, and it took some time to really realize what exactly happened. Now I've got the seat, so obviously there's a lot of work ahead. This winter is going to be about trying to prepare myself for the first race and for the first tests. So really just spending time with the engineers and driving the simulator and getting used to everything is key over the winter. So it's a lot of hard work. McLaren has been a part of my life since I was a small kid, and my dad was a test driver and did one race back in the 90s, but I've always been dreaming about McLaren since I was a small kid. So it's quite special to be in this car as a racing driver.
Magnussen set out to win the 2013 Formula Renault 3.5 title, and that's exactly what he did.
The championship this year was very important for me. It was sort of the year where I had to deliver, and together with my team Dams, we did the job, and we got the championship. I had to develop as a driver, I had to grow up as a driver, and this year it all came together. So it was sort of perfect for me to end my junior career at this level. I've been a part of McLaren for a few years now in the junior program. I started in 2009, and it's a big help that I already know most of the people here, and I feel at home here already. The fact that Lewis did exactly what I'm doing now back in 2007 is it's a positive thing. I know it means that the team has done this before. They've prepared a rookie before, and the fact that he was very successful is very encouraging. I don't think it's more pressure looking at what Lewis did. It's just showing that it can be done, and you can be successful as a rookie. He was on the podium for the first 9 races of his Formula One career, so that's very impressive. I think it's very, very unusual. No one has ever done that before, I think, but it shows that it's possible, and that's encouraging. Next year we're going to have completely new regulations, so it will mean a completely new car with new engine, new chassis, new gearbox. Everything's going to be new. So it's a new challenge for everyone, not only for me. So everyone is going to have to learn a lot next year, and that's a positive thing for me, I think, because now the fact that I don't have as much experience means a little bit less. So it's a good year for me to come into Formula One. I think it's going to require a lot of hard work, and it will mean that I have to learn a lot still, but at least everyone has. So that's a positive thing. I'm sure working with Jensen will be beneficial, because I think he is the most experienced driver in Formula One next year. So that will mean that I will be able to learn from him. I'm sitting on, when we're in the debriefing and at the races, I'll be sitting next to him and listening to everything he says and watching him work with the team. So that'll be good to learn from him. My whole family and all my friends, it's big news. They know how much I want this, and they've seen me fight for this pretty much my whole life. So they are very happy that I got this opportunity, and I can't wait to see them at the races next year. It's a big news in Denmark that they now have a new Formula One driver, especially as I'm with the top team. It's a very big thing in Denmark. They're very supportive. They're very nice about it. It's a very positive thing in Denmark. So I'm very surprised by the support I've got from Denmark.
Testing begins at the end of January at Jerez. Michael Schumacher continues to make progress as he recovers from injury sustained in his recent skiing accident. The 45-year-old German remains in an induced coma after 2 operations at the Grenoble University Hospital. His condition is still listed as critical. And at this early stage, doctors have no way of knowing what the final result will be. His recovery will take a long time, and it's not yet clear what form that will take. Schumacher's well-known fitness and fighting spirit are not really relevant in his recovery. His age is more of a factor in how the brain begins to heal itself after such physical trauma. Mercedes-Benz has just launched its new mid-size C-Class, ready to take on BMW's 3 Series and Audi's A4. The C-Class will be offered with a number of engines and styles, from the C180 through to the top-of-the-range C400. AMG versions will be available as well. The new body is a hybrid, a combination of aluminium and high-strength steel. It's 70 kilograms lighter than the conventional steel body. Mercedes says this has improved fuel economy by as much as 20%. Rear-wheel drive is standard, and 4MATIC all-wheel drive will be offered in Europe. As expected, the C-Class is a showcase of technology, which has migrated over from the top-of-the-range S-Class. Mercedes AirMatic air suspension is electronically controlled and features continuously variable damping. Steering assist is through a speed-sensitive electromechanical system. Inside, a head-up display projects information like current speed, speed limits and navigation instructions in the driver's field of view. Safety features include a sensor which deactivates the front passenger airbag when a child seat is installed. Removing the child seat reactivates the system. Mercedes BlueTech Hybrid Diesel is a feature. The C-Class is sure to set the standard for compact sedans. After the break on AutoSpeed, more from our European Le Mans Series wrap. Welcome back to our review of the ELMS season. We pick up the action in round 4 at the Hungaroring in Hungary. It was very wet during qualifying. Pierre Thirier and Matthias Pesch won the previous round in Austria in their TDS Oreca. They led the championship from the Signatech Alpine of Pierre Ragu and Nelson Panciatici. Qualifying was a soggy affair with a deluge over the Budapest circuit. When the red flag came out, on row 1, Jonathan Hershey and Brendan Hartley in the Murphy prototype. They were alongside the race performance Oreca of Patrick Niederhauser and Michel Frey. On row 2, the dark blue Signatech Alpine of Pierre Ragu and Nelson Panciatici. And on row 3, Oliver Turvey and Simon Dolan in the Autosport Zytek Nissan. The prize for each class winner is a guaranteed start in the 2014 Le Mans 24-hour race. The European Le Mans Series features 4 classes for prototypes and sports cars. The rain was holding off as the cars made their way to the rolling start in the 3-hour race. And it was Jonathan Hershey who took the lead, repassing Patrick Niederhauser, who'd got by in turn 1. First of the spinners, number 48, collecting the TDS Orica of Pierre Thirier. The Alpine of Pierre Agu made a poor start, dropping back to 6th before recovering to 3rd. Already in the pits, Pierre Thirier for a new nose cone. The TDS crew took a while to get organised. Just 7 minutes into the race, Pierre Agu began to put the pressure on Jonathan Hershey for the lead. In the tricky conditions, they put on a great duel. Towards the end of the lap, Ragu made it past and immediately began to pull away. Hershey then clashed with the ill-handling TDS of Thirier, who returned to the pits for new tyres and even more adjustments. The race order after 35 minutes showed the Alpine of Pierre Agu leading the Murphy prototype of Jonathan Hershey by an impressive 43 seconds. Natasha Gashnang, partnered by ex-F1 driver Christian Kleen, was finding it hard to generate any grip. Third-placed Oliver Turvey managed to avoid the spinning Orica of Japan's Suhail Ayari. McLaren test driver and Cambridge University engineering graduate Turvey was now in sight of Jonathan Hershey's second place until a puncture meant an extra pit stop. With 2 hours to go, leader Pierre Agu was about to lap 5th place Natasha Gashnang, who'd at last found some speed. Kuwait's Khalid Mudhaf managed a brace of spins and clouted the Armco fencing into the bargain. There's not too much rain in Middle East racing. Britain's Colin Jones couldn't make the same excuse when he also made a spinning double. At least he avoided the Armco. In the race for outright honours, Brendan Hartley took over the Murphy prototype from Jonathan Hershey, who'd done a great job to hold on to second place. Now it was up to the one-time Red Bull F1 test driver to close in on the leader, the Alpine of Pierre Agu. But not a great first corner by Hartley, facing the wrong direction after being passed by the Alpine. Championship leader TDS continued to languish down the order after another spin. And synchronised spinning from the AF Corsa Ferrari and the Matmut Porsche, as the TDS prototype avoided any more drama. The leader, Pierre Agu, in and amongst squabbling Porsches, wisely keeping his distance. In the wet conditions, the GTC and GTE cars were able to keep pace with the prototypes. Third place Simon Dolan had taken over from Oliver Turvey. The track was beginning to dry out. The Acuriacos BMW Z4's race was over with a bent front suspension, although Joe Twyman was desperate to get his car back to the pits. Leader Pierre Agu handed over to young gun Nelson Panciatici, who now had a charging Brendan Hartley closing in. The Alpine made a precautionary fuel top-up, which allowed Hartley to close the gap even more. Nelson Pansiatici on the final lap as darkness fell. It was an important moment for the Signatec Alpine team, their first win in the European Le Mans Series. With official Renault backing, they'll be expected to deliver many more. TDS Racing made it home in 6th. Jonathan Hershey celebrated second place with Brendan Hartley, with third to Dolan and Turvey. It was all set up for the final round of the ELMS when we returned to AutoSpeed. The final round was a 3-hour race at Paul Ricard in the south of France. AutoSport, Oliver Turvey and Simon Dolan were on pole, and alongside the Murphy prototype of Jonathan Hershey and Brendan Hartley. Row 2, Matthias Besch and Pierre Thirier for TDS Racing, and the Signatec Alpine with Pierre Agu and Nelson Pansiatici. Morand Racing and Boutsen Racing made up Row 3, a grid of 26 cars, the biggest entry all season. Oliver Turvey held the lead from Jonathan Hershey, with Matthias Besch challenging in the TDS. Turvey was soon pulling away from Hershey, with Besch looking for a way past. In the championship, TDS Racing and Signatec Alpine were tied on 73 points. Whoever finished ahead of the other could win the title. AutoSport was third with 55, and they too still had a chance. A change for third place as Christian Klein at the wheel of the Morand Racing Morgan Judd made it past TDS Racing. That gave Jonathan Hershey in the dark green car a slight break. Serious trouble for TDS, with only 3 wheels on their wagon. Luckily, Matthias Besch was near the pit entry and was able to make it back. It meant disappointment for TDS. Their hopes of winning the title were fast receding. With half an hour completed, Signatec Alpine was 4th. Competition was tight in GTE. The Ram Racing Ferrari of Matt Griffin and Johnny Molam led the way. Alpine and SMP battle over 4th place. 4 classes and 4 entries to this year's Le Mans 24-hour race, the prizes on offer. In second place, Christian Klein in the Morgan Judd he shared with Natasha Gashnang, being pressed by Jonathan Hershey. The GT cars showed a good turn of speed and could keep up with the prototypes, especially on the Mistral straight. In the pits, the LMPC 49 Orica of Pierre Chatin. After a few moments, it was eventually pushed away. The European Le Mans Series has a real variety of cars, with different performance strengths. GTE class leader Matt Griffin in his Ram Racing Ferrari. In GTC, the Acuria Cos Z4 of Milroy, McCaig and Twyman was chased by the SMP Ferrari. Overall, AutoSport was third in the championship, but if they could win the race and gain maximum points, with TDS out and Alpine back in 4th, the British team would still win the title. In the final hour, Morand Racing, now with Natasha Gashnang at the wheel, all over the back of Simon Dolan, who'd taken over from Oliver Turvey. The 39-second lead that Turvey built up had been eliminated by Gashnang. As they swept around the 54 Ferrari, Gashnang passed Dolan. But Dolan battled back on the front straight, and going into turn 1, he got back ahead of the Swiss driver. In the background, New Zealander Brendan Hartley was ready to pounce. Hartley passed Natasha Gashnang for second place, and a few seconds later he was in the lead, while Gashnang spun out. Could could she get going and catch Dolan once more? With the race start at 4:30, the finish was at 7:30, coinciding with sunset in the south of France. Still holding fourth, the Alpine of Nelson Panciatici, well ahead of the 8th place TDS. Alex Capadia spun, just avoiding the Alpine. Relief from the French team. They knew what a close call it was. The SMP Ferrari of Babini and Shatter with a 44-second lead over their closest GTC rivals, their own teammates. Up ahead, Brendan Hartley pulled out a 16-second lead over Gashnang and Dolan as they battled it out for second. As Brendan Hartley took the checkered flag, the celebrations began for Murphy Prototypes. It was their first win in the ELMS, having joined the series this year. The Ferrari of Johnny Molam won the GTE class for Ram Racing, again their debut in the ELMS. In 2014, there'll be 5 4-hour races at Silverstone, Imola, the Red Bull Ring, Paul Ricard and Estoril in Portugal. In Parc Ferme, a very happy Brendan Hartley in the middle of Simon Dolan and Natasha Gashnang. Champagne time for the Murphy boys, Yotta Motorsport and Morand Racing. And smiles all round for Signatech Alpine. Teammates Nelson Panciatici and Pierre Agu confirmed as the LMP2 champions.
I'm very enjoy. It's very impressive. Congratulations to Nelson. He make a very good job. It's very nice for all the team, Signatech, and for the comeback of Alpine. I'm very, very happy.
So the Alpine name will again compete at Le Mans. On the next AutoSpeed, the latest from the North American International Auto Show at Detroit. And with highlights of the Dakar Rally. Join us then.